It is Tiny Pulpit Talk episode 6. We're so glad you're with us. We've been getting such great feedback, and we're told just keep them coming, keep them coming.
So we are.
So we are. Today, we would love to hear if you have any questions about what we're going to talk about any other episodes. You can subscribe or give us questions or whatever it is you want to do. Let us know that you're out there. But today, we have Reverend Beth Dana. Hi, Beth.
Hi.
And I thought it would be fun to talk about what we did last weekend or on Sunday in worship. We did our child dedication, and that made me think about all the ways this church serves our youngest members of its community. And Beth, you have a large part of that work that you do here, right?
I do, yeah. As Minister of Faith Development, my responsibility is really for all ages and their growth and learning, but a lot of involvement with our little ones in particular. So it's very rewarding having grown up UU myself to be able to be part of that experience for folks here. But yeah, the child dedication is just such a beautiful ceremony.
So nice. I love it.
Because it's the parents bringing their child to this community. In some cases, when the kids are older, it's the child coming to this community saying, I want this to be my community. I want you to be a part of helping to raise me spiritually, to be part of my village. And then it's the community saying back to them, we will do that. And we are here for you and we love you.
One of our longtime members who brings the loveliest people to church, I have to say, just a plug for inviting your friends and family. Bring your friends. Everyone he brings is so lovely. And afterwards, he's like, you know what? I want a copy of the blessing as a prayer to say. And I thought that was really beautiful. It speaks to the child that is in all of us. That is one of my themes as a minister, is reminding people, you are a child.
Yes.
Is that something that resonates with you?
Yeah. I mean, we all were children at one point, and some of us have held on to those pieces of our experience and ways of seeing the world more than others. It's funny, actually tonight I'm going to be with the Women's Evening Alliance talking about the importance of play. Really? And so, yeah, it's all on theme.
My favorite, I'm going to have a little digression. I think one of my favorite albums of all time is Bobby McFerrin and Chick Corea, and the title of the album is Play. And I don't want to give anything away because the album's that good. And so I think it's only 7 tracks.
Wow.
And because Bobby McFerrin is an educator, and I would say a faith leader of sorts. One of his songs is in our hymnal.
Yep.
And it's all about the importance of finding play. Do you want to give us a little preview of what you're going to say tonight? What's central to it?
Well, I mean, that it's an important thing for all ages. And we're going to take one of those fun online quizzes where you find out what your play personality is.
Ooh.
So we'll see how that goes. It should be fun. And there will be lots of games and activities and things for people to play with. So,
I love it.
Of course.
I love it. Well, so bringing back, this Sunday we did child dedication. For the folks who don't know, or I bet there's people who've been around this community for a while who don't really understand our theological position with regard to that. Let's just take it from the beginning. What's the theology behind our dedication? Is it an answer to something? Is it an improvement on something else? Like, what's your understanding of it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's part of the theological foundation is that all of us are born good with an original blessing, as some people would say, instead of original sin. So it's different from a baptism, in that we're not, washing away anything. We are. It's really about the family within a community and the child within a community, acknowledging that inherent goodness and inherent blessing, and committing to be a part of each other's spiritual journeys and spiritual growth.
Right. And for those people who are watching who've never seen one, what do we give the child?
We give them a rose with the thorns removed.
They're not always removed. Part of my
fully,
job is to give the roses, and I have some time sometimes, so I just check.
Scraping
I'm
it
like,
off.
uh-oh, and we have to take them off. That's fine.
Yes, we don't want to poke any little children with rose thorns.
No.
But But yes, the symbolism, there with the thorns removed, but we acknowledge that, as you go through life, the thorns are not always removed. But the rose, that red rose that we bless them with and say, may your thoughts be wise, may your lips speak truth, may your heart know love, and may the work of your hands be blessed all the days of your life, is the same blessing that we do at child dedications and with new members. When adults join the community as members. In a similar way, they're making a commitment, the community's making a commitment to them, and that blessing and that rose are a part of those ceremonies.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's really lovely. I did an ashes, an interment of sorts recently, and explained to some of the people visiting that we give a rose when we dedicate our children, when they join the church, and when we do their remembrance or their memorial. And some of the guests attending thought that was just very beautiful. And
it is. Yeah.
So there's more than just dedicating of children going on at this church. Sometimes I tell people there are Sundays we have 200 children over in the other side of the building. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't see that.
I like to tell that to my colleagues at other churches just to watch their face go, what are you doing? That's crazy. I'm joining your church. I know I'm a minister, but tell us about that. How did that come to be? I mean, you've built something quite tremendous.
I mean, it's not just me. This church has a long history of really strong programs for children and youth. And really just as a community seeing its importance and investing in and supporting that. And so I think, at this particular moment, our church came back from the pandemic when there were no ongoing children's programs. We were meeting on Zoom once a week with a little tiny group of kids of all ages, but nothing like we see here on Sundays. But families came back in huge numbers, and a lot of new families too, because they're seeking a community for their family, for their kids. They recognize that, the saying, it takes a village to raise a child, like it really does, and this church is a village for a lot of people, and we try to help those families see that it's not only, a lot of people come to church for their kids, right? They find a church because they want their children to grow up in a religious community, but I always say to the parents, like, this is your village and your spiritual community too, and your spiritual home, and how are you helping to nurture and nourish yourself and your own growth? And I think that we do that pretty well as a congregation too. We really emphasize adult faith development in a way that a lot of churches don't put as much into that, but we have. And it shows.
I mean, that's the other thing. We have sometimes 100 people in classes for adult ministry as well, which you also, I mean, there isn't enough time in a 15-minute podcast to cover all the things that you do at the church. It's a lot. But, you were gracious enough to have me come, or to, it was fun to go and meet with some of our younger folks a few weeks ago. And I think I mentioned in a previous podcast, and I was explaining a thing in preaching where we don't bring our troubles to the congregation. We might talk about things that we're challenged with, that we've overcome or something, but we don't go on and on about all the problems we have. And I just kind of jokingly was like, that's what therapy's for. And the whole room cheered. Like, all these young people were like, therapy! And,
yay!
And I just, as someone whose whole family has been helped by, therapeutic intervention of different kinds at different things. And I don't just mean my blood relatives, but my chosen family also. And being in a sacred space and having young people have that kind of positive approach to care for themselves and others, I don't know, to me, that's one of the moments of the year that's going to stand out. And
that's awesome.
It was beautiful. And also to watch the lay leaders, oh my God, you want to meet committed people, and maybe you can speak to this. I kid you not, at these bake sales, my privilege gets checked, because I'll just stroll in thinking, I'll just get one of these vegan snacks. No, the young people's advisors would be like, that'll be $5 or whatever. Yeah, it does not matter what you wear. And that gave me such, not just love and respect, but such comfort to know that the kind of people volunteering and devoting their time to caring for our young people in those classes are extraordinary people.
Oh, yes, it's incredible. They're extraordinary people, and also, I remind people anybody can do it. Like,
right.
You don't have to be an expert or a professional teacher or something.
Extraordinary people by volunteering. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of faith formation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all made possible by a tremendous number of volunteers, of adults who are working with our young people of all ages and in our adult classes who are making that happen. It's not all us running these things, right? Or even
Thank
the staff.
Heavens.
No, there are a tremendous number of volunteers who devote so much time and so much heart to the growth and love of our people. It warms my heart to be in the midst of that on Sundays.
Did I ever tell you that the first the first time I was in a UU church as a grown-up was for a choir concert. That was just sort of, at All Souls on the Upper East Side. The first service I went to was a credo service.
For the coming of age.
Was the coming of age credos.
Yeah.
And that, I could not believe what I was hearing.
Yeah.
Not just the brilliance, but the freedom.
Yeah.
And one young woman did, I don't believe in anything right now. I don't know what I'm supposed to believe, but it always stuck with me. But this place taught me how to ask questions.
Yep. Yeah.
And to try to build that life.
Yeah.
And we're coming up on this Sunday, right?
We are. This Saturday and Sunday, our coming of age teens are going to be sharing their spiritual reflections, we call them, and we'll be blessed and celebrated in worship on Sunday. And I'm always amazed every year. I mean, I shouldn't be, I guess, but it's at the wisdom that they have to share. And I always remind them of this as they're preparing, because they're very anxious about it.
Yeah.
And about speaking what's on their mind and hearts, even though they know that this is a safe and loving community, and they all speak to that. But for anybody of any age, that takes a lot of courage. But they have so much to offer, and they have a message that their community needs to hear.
Yeah.
And oftentimes that is, especially for ninth graders, I don't have all the answers, and I'm not even sure why I'm asking these questions, but I'm grateful to have a place where I can ask these questions and explore and figure it out.
Yep. Yeah, it's what comes up for me right now, and we have the really the blessing and the honor to be there for people in times of need, but our young people, and it's not just at this church. Church is just a cross section of society at large.
Yep.
And maybe it's regionalized a little bit, but I have a niece and a nephew that are in around the age of our young people too, and they're just carrying so much, processing so much in ways that I don't know how to advise them about how to process, because I didn't have phones growing up. I didn't have the kinds of challenges that are facing them. I feel like technology and the world and things like that have outpaced some of the wisdom I have to share. And I don't know, it's not that they're on their own, but they're really trying to figure stuff out at a rate that, am I just old by saying this, that I didn't have to do when I was their age, like these whippersnappers? But you know what I'm getting at. A lot of our folks are really stressed, our young people.
Yeah,
really
there are some layers of experience that cause stress that we didn't experience in the same way when you and I were teenagers or children. But I think there are also some of the same common things underlying it. It's social stuff. It's am I enough? Do I fit in? It's stress about school and about expectations in general and succeeding and all of those things. But technology adds a whole nother layer to that and just complicates it even more. But yes, our young people are carrying a lot. And I see that all the time in many ways. And the pandemic impacted a lot of young people in terms of their mental health. and their just social development and growth. And so that's part of what we're trying to minister to in this time and in this place, are those needs. And so a community saying we love you and we're here to support you, whether it's in the child dedication or the coming of age ceremony or
making sure a minister pays for a brownie, whatever it takes. Love
we
is
will
love.
Support our young people. is so important now, maybe more than ever.
Yeah, it is. I'm really in awe of all you do and all you hold in this. It's so great to be your colleague.
Well, thanks. You're a big part of it too.
Yeah, that is. Thank you all for coming. What a wonderful way to celebrate this time of year. And to all you graduates, all you people moving on, we are sending you our love and our support. This is your home. No matter where you're going or what you're doing, we're always going to be here for you.
Yep.
And if anything's on your heart, we want to hear from you. So, yeah, let us know if you've got any questions. Like us, tune in next week. I'm not sure what we're going to have. We just, sometimes we just have to respond to what we've got.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so see you next week. Thanks for coming to this episode of Tiny Pulpit Talk. See you again soon.
Bye.